friends, Pastor Karen here. It's Thursday again. Happy Thursday. Here with the Thoughtful Thursday. We're continuing our conversation about pathways to God. We're in the second to last week, so we have this week and next week to talk about this. And this week, the topic is contemplative pathway. And if you watched our worship service, Lima United Methodist Church, this week, you heard Pastor Dory talk a little bit about the contemplative pathway and how it's probably not her strength because she likes to be loquacious, which was the word that her teacher used to describe her in elementary school. She likes to talk, so contemplative pathways encourage us to kind of calm down and be quiet and maybe do more listening than talking. And I think that we hear a lot about contemplative pathways, and we hear about meditation, and we hear about centering and quieting ourselves, and all of this kind of like the new thing to do to center ourselves. But as Christians and as folks who worship God, I think that this really takes on an extra layer. In the Bible, it tells us so many things about how we can communicate with God. In Philippians, it says, do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, in prayer and supplication, ask God for what you want, essentially. Talk to God. Tell God what's going on. But then in Psalm 46, it says that God says, be still and know that I am God. Be still. And I don't know about you, but it's hard for me to be still. I try the contemplative pathway on a regular basis, and I'm going to share with you a few of the things that I do. And some days I am able to still make myself still. I'm able to center myself. I'm able to spend some time really just being with God. And sometimes I can't stop my grocery list or my chore list, or I just seem to be getting interrupted or distracted. And sometimes it's just harder for me to just be still. And so I think that that's just our journey. I think that that's what we should be striving to do is, and exactly what we're asking folks to do this summer is to try something new and see what happens. So I've been using the contemplative pathway myself for quite some time, mostly because I really wanted to counteract what I thought was happening in my life, which was just this busy kind of whirlwind craziness, always talking to people or doing something, and I have this incredibly long to-do list, and I really felt like I needed to balance out my life, and I spent some time working on the contemplative side of me. One of the things that I like to do, I'll share two or three things that I like to do. One of them is this idea of centering prayer. And not to be confused, because it's really not a prayer. I really should call it like centering time. But it's really a way for me to connect to God. And I think I think in the moment of an attribute of God that I might need in my life, or that I might be grateful for. So maybe that's love or mercy or peace or joy. Just one word. And so I put that one word in my head, and we're told in centering prayer that you should try to say that word over and over again. And yet I do that, and then suddenly my grocery list pops into my head too. Oh, I can't forget to get butter when I go to the Acme. And I remember a professor of mine telling us a way to kind of combat that. And it really works for me most of the time. And that is to find a place in your mind where you are sitting in this centering prayer, near some kind of running water. So maybe like a river that's running past, or a small stream. And to picture like either leaves on the river, or logs on the river, sticks on the river, and they're floating down the river, right? And the river is constantly moving, and these leaves and sticks are constantly floating by. And as you have these more distracted thoughts, and you find yourself not concentrating on the word or the attribute of God that you're that you have chosen for that day is to put that thought on one of those sticks or on one of those leaves and literally watch it flow down the river until it goes away, and then go back to saying love, love, love. Maybe something else will pop into your head. Place it on the leaf or on the stick or on the log and watch it flow down the river. That really helps me. First of all, I love running water, and I love to be near the water. So that just vision of being in that space is also so helpful to me. So maybe that's something that you can try this week. I do also in the past have used a labyrinth like Pastor Dory talked about on Sunday. I've used the paper one, although I love to go on the ones that you can walk on, and I still believe that there's one at Newman University, and that you can still access that. But I also know that there's one in Downingtown at Hopewell United Methodist Church. If you've never been to that one, oh my goodness, friends, it's so worth the drive, even if you're a little farther away and listening to this. They have this beautiful labyrinth, and the scenery that surrounds you while you're walking on this labyrinth is oh my goodness, it's amazing. Well worth the drive to Downingtown to Hopewell United Methodist Church to walk their prayer labyrinth. But I've used a labyrinth on paper because it helps me, again, stay centered. It helps me stay focused. And I think that's the idea around contemplative prayer, is not to just kind of let your brain be going willy-nilly and kind of like just having this stream of consciousness, but really being able to center yourself. And it helps me. I usually trace with my finger, and it looks like a maze, right? But it keeps you focused, because you can putting your finger on that line really just puts you in that right spot. I've also used prayer beads in the past, and a lot of times when folks use prayer beads, they kind of assign something that they want to talk to God about for each bead on the prayer bead. If you don't know what prayer beads are, they're kind of like a rosary for Protestants. So it's a little bit different, and maybe sometime I'll do a Thoughtful Thursday on prayer beads. That would be a good one. But it's an idea that you have something in your hand, and I use it because I can continue to say the word. Maybe I combine like centering prayer and my prayer beads at the same time. And again, for me, it's just that one tangible thing that helps me stay focused, that helps me stay still. And it's in those times sometimes where I end my time and I ask myself, did I fall asleep? Like, was I sleeping, or was I at that stage where I just felt like I might be communing with God, even for just a second or two or a minute? But that's contemplative prayer and contemplative pathway. It's going to be hard for you to take a picture and send it to us, so you might need to just like, unless you find a labyrinth, or you take a picture of where you like to sit for your centering prayer. I sit in the same seat every morning, and so that also helps me kind of establish that this is the time when I'm going to center myself. And so I think that's really important. Maybe light a candle. Some folks that I've talked to like to stare at the candle and the flame, and that kind of really centers them as well. So I hope that it helps you a little bit, that you can try some things. I give you some examples, and I think in this crazy busy world, it is really good for all of us to find a balance, to find some time where we're not on our phones, and we're not watching the news, and we're not watching the sitcoms, and we're just kind of being. We're really so good at doing, so good at doing, and we are not good at being. So I pray this week that you would find some time to try the contemplative pathway and see if you can connect to God in some quiet, if you can connect with God in some stillness, if you can connect with God, who really is the center of our lives and where we should be centering ourselves every day. If you have an experience or you take a picture, just like I've been saying for the last few weeks, send it to limascoops@gmail.com. We're super excited to hear what people have done this summer and what new things you have tried or new places that you have visited. So limascoops@gmail.com, and we'll compile them all at the end of the summer, and hopefully we'll have a really fun video to share with everyone. So I hope that you have a beautiful week. I hope you find some time to be still and know God. Have a great week.